Grand Rising to the world, Rich Rising. How about a AM quick conversation as I make my commute to the gym to get in my workout. Hope everybody is well. Hope you're getting a good start to your day. Just a quick chat. The title is Becoming G.O.D. Generator, Operator, Destroyer, which is the Trinity, which is how all things in existence continue to move. Things are generated, they are sustained, and then they go through entropy. Oh boy, here go the people, they crazy. The aggression out here. Yeah, we got a lunar eclipse coming up this evening. Partial lunar eclipse, 25 degrees of Pisces. This is a big deal. But I'm gonna try to come back and talk about that later. But I'm gonna show this real quick before I get off this rant. This book, Mind into Matter, instead of Mind over Matter, Mind into Matter. Fred Allen Wolf. I want to quote something profound that he says in this book. Now, he's an astrophysicist. He says, when you think, you become time. When you sense, you become space. When you feel, you become energy. When you intuit, you become motion. Now, what he's done is he's basically tapped into the magic of the tetragrammaton. And tetra, four, talking about the fourfold nature of the divine. And the tetragrammaton the accepted version that we're familiar with is Yud, Hey, Va, Hey. And they add up to 26, which is a significant number. 26, which is the reverse of Kether on the top of the tree of life. And Kether has a value of 62. So the Yud, Hey, Va, Hey is the enveloping of the divine force that comes into the top sphere on the tree of life. And which is why it would make perfect sense that it's the reverse of the number. 62 reversed. Actually, it's 620 is Kether, 620. But if you reduce it, that's 62. And you flip that, then you have 26. You have 206 bones in the feet. Reduce that, that's 26. And the feet, understanding. Full moon eclipse is coming up in Pisces. Pisces is associated with the feet, understanding, divine understanding. But either way, he is tapping into the esoteric nature of 4. 4 is a foundational number. And he has, I don't know if I guess he came up with this concept himself though, but it is powerful. Although he may have come up with a specific language association, the idea he's conveying is ancient. When you think, you become time. When you sense, sensing, that's proprioception. When you sense and become space, that's proprioception. You are aware of yourself in space. Great athletes have amazing proprioception. They have this ability to maneuver through space. They become the space. They're sensing where people are going to move on the court. The great quarterback is sensing where the defender is going to shift. And he then becomes all of that space. The drummer is sensing the space around the actual percussion. So he's not just playing when he's actually striking the instrument, he's also sensing when he's not striking it. He becomes the space. When you feel, you become energy. That's why emotion is so important. Even depression, even anger, even sadness, feelings of loss, and all of them are bringing us into a field of energy. Now, are we supposed to stay there? No. But by being in touch with that energy, it then allows us to know that we exist. And then by existing, then I can now make a choice as to how I want to maneuver or move forward, because I am the energy. When you intuit, you become motion. And we all know about intuition. You get this notion, I'm not gonna go this way. Like today, I got the notion, I'm gonna go to this gym instead of the other one. You know, minor stuff, but it's intuitively, we get these. And what happens is when let's just say you have your intuition says, don't go down this road. And you listen and you follow your intuition, then you find out that on that road they had such and such happen. Well, what happened is your intuition allowed your consciousness to travel in time to see a future timeline. So he says when you intuit, you become motion. So what happens is you travel. Your intuition is a vehicle. It gives you the ability to travel throughout different timelines. Your intuition can even allow you to travel back in time. And that's how we can heal wounds, because it allows you to travel for understanding. You're able to go back and see what was seen, which gives you understanding, which then promotes healing. Why this is significant is because I think these are key components to becoming G.O.D, which is what we are supposed to be on the quest for, is to become G.O.D. And it's not sacrilegious. It is, because if you really think about it, that the divine, that there is nothing but this singular source, and that it has been fragmented, then it will only make sense to want to desire to be that which you originally are, or that which you originally come from. So it's like it really make you think about things, Let's go back to when you think, you become time. Here's the flip. When you think about time, you become a slave to time. That's called worrying. You're thinking about something that happened in the past that you can't change. You're thinking about a future that ain't even here. And you become a slave to now because you're thinking about time. So what he's saying is learning how to think freely. And I got to come back and have a conversation about this, because sometimes even when you think you're thinking outside the box, you're just in another box. Because we got to realize that the way we've been so-called educated, even if you have the wherewithal to know that it's garbage, you still have to have the ability to deprogram how it affected the way you go about learning. So it's not enough just to know, the school system, that teach a bunch of lies, but you may not recognize which lies still permeate deep and resonate deep down in your soul that still guide you. Like, how do we know when we're not under mind control? And especially now with this thing called the algorithm. So in other words, once this thing learns what your perspective is, it only feeds you more of your perspective. And if you don't already think outside of the box, then even when you think you're outside the box, you're just in another box, because it is designed to box you in. And when you go back and study how our school system was developed based on East Prussia, which is German communism, the Lancasterian school, where you get 500 children in a place at one time, and you raise some of them up to captains, and the captains are going to monitor the children. You're teaching people how you want them to function in society. And that's not education, that is training. That is training to be a cog in another cog in the wheel, or just a piece in the machine. Pay attention to Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness is showing you the world because their logo is a cog. How could a gym choose a cog, which is part of a gear, which is just mechanisms just to keep something larger going? They're telling the people you're just a cog in the machine, a cog in the wheel. And got a big old thumb like, yeah, everything's okay. Just don't go outside of the prescribed way of acting and thinking. Everything is everything. Everything, all symbolism is speaking. Everything's metaphysical if you got eyes to see. But you got to know how to think to be able to see these things. So to become time, you first have to know how to think. And so Frederick T. Gates and John D. Rockefeller did some amazing, magical things at the beginning of the 20th century. They set up a system to ensure that for hundreds of years to come, people's thoughts would be colonized. And we have to ask ourselves, am I a product, is my thinking a product of animal husbandry, which is what the school system in the United States was based on, is based on animal husbandry. How to raise cattle. So one of the greatest representations is, hey, when we first moved in our house, it was 2018, yeah. And I guess, I lost my connection. So my neighbor just assumes where I may be politically. And I just showed indifference, like, well, we gotta vote. That's animal husbandry. That's animal husbandry. We've been trained what we have to do, instead of being trained to actually be a critical thinker. So if I'm going to participate in something, I need to know how it works. I need to know the origin of the system that I'm participating in. I need to know the origin of the people that I'm supposed to throw my vow to, or my promise, or my vote. You understand what I'm saying? Everything that we do, if we don't question it, it's just a response to animal husbandry, because you've been told what you're supposed to do, and you haven't even taken the time. You follow a religion, pick a religion, any religion. How can you follow it and you never took the time to study the origin of it? What's the epistemology? How do people even come to know what they think they know? What's the ontology? What's the origin? How was it created? How do we go and participate in things and don't know the ontology and the epistemology? But then we think outside the box. It's impossible to think outside the box when you haven't taken the time to study the origin of what you even participate in. But you just do it because it feels good. Emotion. So it says when you feel, you become energy. Well, when you are trapped by emotion, you are trapped by energies. See, all these things got to be working together. You can't just be feeling and not thinking. Because if all you do is feel, then you'll become trapped by that which you put all your energy into. So you're swayed by energy. So you're not becoming the energy, you are a servant to energy. If you don't think, you become a servant to somebody else's thinking, and you become trapped in time because you're not actually thinking. If you're not actually sensing and thinking about what you're sensing, you become confined in space or trapped in a void, in limbo. If you don't cultivate your intuition, you can't move. Alone, you're moving, but you're never really moving anywhere. Because all four of these things they feed on each other. You need to think, you need to sense, you need to feel, you need to intuit, all of them. And when one is missing, the whole thing. And when you concentrate on just one, you retard the whole thing. They all must feed on each other, but we haven't taught that. We haven't been taught. I don't want to be controlled by time. I want to beat time. I don't want to be smothered. I'd rather be the space. I don't want to be confined and choked out. I want to be the space. And sometimes to be the space, you got to detach. I know I'm all over the place. It may not be making no sense, but it is making sense. Neptune is now making its energetic sweep into Aries. It's not there yet. Giving us glimpse when these outer planets get into that last decan, they're already showing us, giving us indications of its ingress into the next sign. So people's energy is overlapping. But the proprioception is lacking. People are unaware of themselves in space. This is why something as simple as you at the store, grocery store, or some other retail outlet, and somebody stops in the middle of the lane because they're unaware that they exist in space with other souls, other humans. So while the Neptune is overlapping the energetic fields, the lack of proprioception, the lack of ability to sense oneself in space is turning people into weapons against each other. We have a civil war of energetic unawareness that is building. It's an occult manifestation because people's inward, undigested energy, unacknowledged, inability to understand who they are is leaking out into the outer world, and it is overlapping onto other people. That's the real should be one of the more prevalent things on our minds right now. Being energetically unaware. We're given cues as to what we're supposed to care about, what we're supposed to pay attention to, what we're supposed to be outraged about. And there's a difficulty. There's a difficulty in gaining any actual self-awareness. And that's feeding a malefic force. And we got to understand, when Gates and Rockefeller initiated this program, they were leading us to where we are now with AI. Because if you remove the human and the soul urge to evolve, then you then are cultivating an artificial intelligence. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Artificial intelligence does not begin with Chat GPT or Copilot. These are manifestations of work that was done hundreds of years ago. When Rene Descartes, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. If not, so what? He passes away in 1650. In 1649, I gotta go work out, but I'm gonna say this. In 1649, somewhere thereabout, Uranus and Neptune had a conjunction in Sagittarius. Philosophy. Okay? Now, what Descartes left the world, arguably, is confusion. Because they coined the term the Cartesian Dualism based on his philosophy that the mind is separate from matter. And what happened is all this stuff with the medical thing that happened, you know what I'm talking about, a few years ago and all that, where the emphasis was on putting something foreign into the blood, that was given birth with Cartesian dualism. Because up until that point, the mind was connected with the physiology. Meaning if I had a physical ailment, it was not odd to say, well, let me think about your psychic or soul health in relation to your physical. And so if this happens around the conjunction of Neptune and Uranus, two planets that deal with alien. Uranus, alien as in disconnected from this earth, as in mechanistic, and Neptune, alien as in consciousness that goes beyond the three-dimensional. So it's more of a metaphysical, and Uranus is more the mechanistic. And so if those two come together and they are nefariously used, it is the recipe for artificial intelligence. And now we may be thinking that we're thinking right now when our thinking may just be an artificial intelligence. You may just be thinking out a program. And I can spend hours laying out book references, titles, historical references. And I can give a person 6 million points of evidence. But the program still kicks in and says, oh, that's cool, but guess what I'm going to do? What everybody else doing? And that's where we at. It's not an egotistical thing because it's lonely. You understand me? It's lonely. And this channel suffers because if my stupid ass will just get on here and say, hey, Sagittarius rising, this month you can expect this, Scorpio rising. If my stupid ass would just get on here and do horoscopic astrology and just stick to, this channel could be at 10,000 subscribers already. But no. Jamal the jackass just cannot control. You know why? Because it kills me to see things, and I just have, because I live life having to be around people where I see things and I can't say it because they can't fucking take it. And I don't say shit off of whims. I study voraciously. But it don't matter. It does not matter. Jupiter is in Gemini. Question your goddamn perspective. That's the order of the day. Question your perspective. When you think, you become time. When you sense, you become space. When you feel, you become energy. When you intuit, you become motion. When you put those together, you become G.O.D. And on that note, I'm going to go in here and do my workout. I appreciate all y'all tuning in. And I hope y'all have a fantastic day. Look, do this for me. Because look, there's something going on. I've seen it. It's happened to my other channel. And I've seen this play out. I already know what's. So, turn your notifications on. Let's organically resist the inorganic. So the organic is you hit the like, you share, you subscribe if you're not subscribed, and then let's just let the inorganic do whatever it's gonna do. But let's match it, or let's do our due diligence with organic resonance by doing what organic beings can do. You know, let's play the game, but we're gonna do it as an energy exchange on our level. If you receive these messages, these downloads, the knowledge positively, then let's do what we got to do. Turn your notifications on, hit that like, and be ready for me to get on here anytime. You know, shit. Look at this, 8 in the morning. Be ready, because that's the way it goes. And yeah, I'll be back. As always, know the stars to know yourself. Astrology is not a game of fortune telling and trying to be a carnival act. Astrology is the foundation of psychology. Astrology is the codification of soul language, so that man as a collective, not man as a gender, but man as a collective, can know thyself. And that's what I'm about. Don't come to me for no carnival shit. You know, I take this very seriously, and it is a gift to be allowed to even learn, discuss, and share this science/art. 720astrology.com. Peace.